What did we say in the beginning?
I don't know. Hey, what's up, you guys?
How are you now?
What's up, you guys?
How are you now? Got it.
Okay, let's get started. Let's get ready to rumble.
Hey guys, welcome back to the circle. I'm Lisa.
I'm Natalie.
I'm Kaylee.
Off camera.
She's over there. It's all good though. She's always part of the circle. Get your favorite piece.
Roll your blunt.
Fucking join us because today we're gonna be having a really good video. Today we're smoking on a Game Tropical rolled by yours truly. It's a salad of different weeds, so we're gonna be having a pretty good time.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be doing true crime stories.
So I got this story off of a Forensic Files episode that I saw for the first time a while ago, but the story is just like really crazy, so I really wanted to tell Lisa.
So if you want to spark up with us, let's start.
Hey. Okay, so I have my notes on my phone. So like I said, I did get this off of a Forensic Files episode, so most of my information came off of there, and then I also found just like random information on the internet. I wasn't there, so maybe some of the stuff that I think I know or whatever is wrong, and if you want to correct us in the comments, that's great. We'd love to have discussion in the comments also,
awesome.
As long as it's productive and respectful to the family of the victim and
to everybody commenting,
yeah.
Us, like, we don't want any arguments in the comments or anything like that. Like, this is honestly, we'll just remove it because we want a chill vibe like the whole time. This is what we're about, and we hope you have a good time with this video.
Yeah, so what I've learned from this story.
And what we are open to learning more about.
Right,
you know?
of course, yeah. So, this is the story of Christopher Wood. In this story, there are 4 different very intense things that happen, okay?
Oh, fuck.
The first thing is fraud.
Okay.
The second thing is arson.
That's fire, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
The third thing is murder. And the fourth thing is suicide. Okay.
In that order?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
So, it's a very intense story. There's a lot of information, a lot of science in this case, so just bear with me. And just, if you have any questions, just ask, okay? And
I definitely will.
We can even look things up and try to learn better with each other. So, I'm looking down at my phone. Okay, so, Christopher Wood was born in 1988. So, if he was still alive today, he'd be 30.
Just about.
Just
said 88?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be 31 because...
Yeah.
Because it's 2019. Yeah, so... to his mom, Jolynn, and his father, Robert, or for the rest of the story, I'm going to be calling his dad Bob. And then he had a big sister, Teresa, who was 5 years older than him. Teresa was like the princess of the family. She could do no wrong. Her dad loved her like she was the best little girl in the world, right? Our dog!
He is whining because he's not allowed in here because we have a lot of food in here, so...
So, Teresa could do no wrong. She's the princess. Christopher, on the other hand, he was really funny and silly, and that could oftentimes get him in trouble because he was just always having a lot of fun. And on
He was a boy.
Right, he was a young boy. And on the opposite side of Teresa, Bob was like really hard on Christopher, like overly parenting, grounded all the time, scolding, yelling, like really, really hard on Christopher. And it was like very distinct. Like people remember him being really nice to Teresa and him not being super nice to Christopher. So
That's sad.
yeah, really sad, right? Jolynn and Bob got divorced when Christopher was 3. And so for the first part of like the childhood and after the divorce, Christopher and Teresa lived with their mom. And then when Christopher was like 8 or 9, Bob got custody of them and they moved to a small town outside of Spokane, Washington called Newman Lake. Pretty...
Question.
Sure.
What, do you know why he got custody of them?
I don't know. I didn't do any... There's not a ton of research on the family out there. Like, the stuff that I find... one thing is that there's, like, a bunch of famous, like, actors named Christopher Wood. So if you look up his name, like, not a lot pops up. But I was like I like searched deeper into it. Nothing really talks about the divorce, why they got divorced. In the Forensic Files episode, they don't talk about the divorce at all.
So they just probably were never asked about it, I guess.
Yeah. So, pretty quickly, once they moved to Newman Lake, Washington, Bob started dating this woman named Shelley Kellogg, who was also a single parent. So they kind of had this like Brady Bunch situation going on. They thought it was like really cute and fun, and everything was like totally cool and normal. They had a lot of fun until Bob was fired from his real estate job for embezzling over $100,000. What? That is a fuck ton of money
From the job?
from his real estate agency.
Like, they could have sued him.
Oh, I'm
For
sure
a lot
they did.
more.
I'm sure they did. But all of this unravels really quickly. This is our first really big crime in this, right? Is the fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So, $100,000. A couple days later, Bob asks Shelley to marry him.
Days
After he gets getting fired for embezzlement, and she rejects him.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? Because he's a fucking criminal. Okay. So she was like obviously shocked, and she broke up with him. So then a few days after, why did you just text and not just like say it? We can edit it out.
Well, you're not editing that out.
Sorry that the camera angles changed.
It's
It's our dog. Okay, so the morning of February 4th, just a week after Bob was fired from his job for embezzling $100,000, the morning, February 4th, 1999, the morning goes on as usual.
Was it the morning?
The morning goes on as usual.
Listen.
I'm being made fun of.
Attack.
Happened in the damn morning, okay? Fuck. So, it was going on as usual. Everyone was up getting ready for school, getting ready for work, and the morning routine was Teresa leaves at 8 a.m. So the big sister, she's 16 at this time. She leaves for school at 8 a.m. Cute little sophomore in high school in the 90s. Love her.
Love it. Should have ponytail every day, probably.
For sure. Extra
High
barrettes.
ponytail.
Extra barrettes. Bob left for work at 8:20. He had a 66-minute, what's it called? Commute to work. And then Christopher would leave for the bus and lock the door at 8:30. Okay? However, at 8:30 a.m. when Christopher's supposed to be leaving the house, the neighbors call 911 because there's a fire at the Woods house.
It was him. Oh, fuck. Motherfucker trying to kill this fucking child. It's better.
Listening is
Just keep
better.
listening.
I'm listening.
Okay. When word spread about the fire, the principal of Christopher's school got in contact with the fire department and told them that Christopher never showed up for school that day. So the thing about that is a couple weeks before, Bob had called Jolynn, Christopher's mom, who they didn't live with in town, like out of town, and said, Christopher has been playing with matches recently, and they've been having a lot of conversations with Christopher and his use of matches and playing with fire. The little boy, the son, Christopher, who's 11 at this time.
Who was having the conversation with him?
The mom, the dad and mom.
Oh, okay.
So Bob, who he lived with, called his mom Jolynn and said, Christopher's been playing with matches. And, you know, it was a serious conversation with him. The fire starts, he's nowhere to be found. And the thing about that is if kids accidentally start fires, a lot of times they'll go and hide, which can be more dangerous for a couple reasons. One, if they go and hide in the house, they will go hide in like a small place where they can't be found, and then the house is burning down and then no one can find them.
Oh,
and that's really scary.
God.
Right? So the firefighters just like broke down everything and went searching for Christopher in the whole house. The other thing that happens is they'll run away from the house, right?
Yeah.
But it's February in Washington.
So it's cold as fuck.
Freezing. Snow.
Snow everywhere.
Like,
Snow everywhere.
he won't make it very far.
So the principal calls and says Christopher's nowhere. So now they're searching for him.
Does the whole, like, city area?
So yeah, they first are looking in the house, and then they start looking like around. Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, oof. What if I?
You don't want a pillow?
We have a pillow.
We're just
Y'all need another one?
no, we're just millennials who look down at their phones all the time. So
And I'm still doing it right now. Okay, so it's freezing outside. People are worried.
it's February in Washington, cold as shit.
People are worried. They can't find him. Okay. It took Bob almost 2 hours to get home after he was called about the fire.
And it's only an hour-long drive,
And remember,
right?
it was only a 66-minute commute.
Bitch.
And he hadn't left too long before because he claimed he left the house at 8:20. Okay, so when Bob gets back to the house, he's met by firefighters, cops, news anchors, and the whole fucking neighborhood is watching. Like, kids are out of school, like, fucking watching and helping look for Christopher.
Fuck.
There is a news clip of Bob, his dad, and Shelly, his girlfriend, begging Christopher, saying, if you hear this, if you can see this, we love you, we want you to come home safe to us. If you started the fire, we want you to know that it's okay, we forgive you, we just want you to come home safe.
And he's 11?
He's 11.
Bro.
So they're just heartbroken, right? They don't know where their 11-year-old is. And they just lost, like, a good portion of their house.
Their house is gone and their kid.
Yeah. Can't find
Yeah,
them.
but like, you don't know which thing to be more concerned about at the moment. Like, cause you have one kid that needs a house,
And one kid that you don't know if he's gonna have a house.
yeah, that it's just gone.
Right. So awful. Okay, so the biggest manhunt that this town had ever seen started for Christopher. So many people were helping look for him, including, like I said, his classmates and his teachers. 5 miles from the Woods house, Christopher's backpack was found on the side of the road by a motorist.
Snatched.
Okay, so
Snatched by the fucking dad. Okay, I'm waiting.
Okay, so this is our second crime, right? It's arson. We have the fire now. So let's talk about fire, okay? When fires begin, this is like science, and I don't know why this happens. When fires begin, they leave a very distinctive V shape where they begin, right? So when firefighters trace a fire, they'll trace the pattern in reverse. They'll see where they killed the fire at and then move backwards, right? So at the point of origin, they know the fire started at that V point. So they did the investigation on the house. They brought in like sniffer dogs to smell out any like arson or anything like that. The sniffer dogs didn't find anything, but they did find the point of origin being in the living room on the couch. So the V shape was on the couch and then led up to the wall in the living room.
It's like
and
the
then
couch set on fire?
the couch was what set on fire. The couch is the point of origin. Okay. But they didn't find any proof of accelerant or anything like that. Okay, so the second crime is the arson. 2 days later, on February 6, 1999, Christopher's body was found by a snowplow driver 50 miles from the Woods home in an embankment on a deserted road.
50 miles.
So how long is 50 miles?
That's about an hour if you're driving at 60 miles per hour and there's a little bit of traffic or something.
But you have to counteract that it's like probably
Lights.
snowy or
Yeah.
icy, so.
About an hour and a half to...
Okay, so investigators could tell that he hadn't been killed in the embankment because it hadn't snowed since Christopher went missing and there was no snow disturbance around him. Meaning his body was dumped there, so he was already dead when he arrived on that scene. Okay. He wasn't killed there. He had ligature marks on his neck, meaning he was strangled to death. But there was no sooting on him or in his lungs, and there was no carbon monoxide found in his blood, which proved that he was not present when the fire was started.
Oh, God.
His shoes were also found on the wrong feet, which is an indicator to investigators.
He was raped, bro.
Wait, listen. It's an indicator to investigators of
She's wearing
abduction
hats.
because, this is an awful thing, but if you're picturing dressing like a lifeless body or a baby and you pick up a shoe, you might unknowingly just put the right shoe on the left foot and the left foot on the right shoe, you know, like if you're dressing a body. So, that's the idea behind that. So now we have the third crime, right? We have the fraud, we have the arson, we have the murder. Awful. 11-year-old boy found dead in the snow embankment.
And this is taking over the course of how many days since he's been fired?
Since the dad was fired from his job, so it was a week, like 10 days. Okay. Christopher's classmates, this part like literally breaks my heart every time I think about it.
God.
Christopher's classmates and teachers put together like a memorial service for him and put together the scrapbook of like memories and stories they had with him and poems for his mom. And like in the Forensic Files episode, the mom is like holding this like scrapbook and it has like all these like stories written and she's like, I still cry when I read this every single time I read it. And like, how fucked up is this thing? Like, she didn't live with her kid. She didn't have custody.
Oh my god, that's right. She wasn't even there. Oh my gosh, I didn't see.
I don't know. There's no information on the last time that she even saw him. So
Like, did she even live in the same town?
No.
So like, how long had she gone without seeing her son? And then she never
sees
gets to
him
see him ever again.
Like, she didn't know when the last time she was gonna see her son was.
No, she didn't think that the last time she saw her son was going to be the last time she saw him.
Okay, so like you thought before, when they were looking for suspects, they thought he was abducted. So they started looking at like sex offenders in the area. But after the autopsy on his body came back that there was no like sex that happened to his body, they ruled that out. They said this wasn't a sex offender.
Okay, so the fucking psycho-ass dad killed his son, took the body, set the fire to distract everybody while he's fucking leaving, and then comes back like, oh no, where's my fucking son? Okay, go on, sorry, I'm just making predictions.
You're right. Investigators started looking at Bob because he was sus as fuck, right?
Hold on, I really want to start that second blunt, but I need a sip of Gatorade! Oh my god, I am
Hydrated,
shaking
folks.
right now.
Isn't this intense? So, investigators started looking at Bob and they were like, remember how fucking weird it was that it took him so long to get back to the house even though he should have not been that far away? Like
if he just left?
That's weird.
Yeah, if he just left, he should be able to get there pretty quickly.
Yeah, like your house is on fire. You're not just like meandering.
But
Yeah.
when
You didn't stop to get gas. Like,
but
where are
when
you?
did the school call him? Like,
I don't know the timing of all of that. And the school didn't call Christopher. The school didn't call Bob. The school called the fire marshals, the fire department.
so no one told him that the house had been on fire until when?
There's that kind of comes in further in the story, but we don't know. They started looking into like his personal stuff, into his finances, and they saw that he got fired for that embezzlement. They learned that he also made about $100,000 a year, but he was spending so much more than that, like a lot of money. Okay, he
Imagine what is it?
he found he bought a $78,000 house. Which I didn't do the math, but like in the 90s, that is a lot more money than it is today.
Yeah.
You know,
Like a $40,000 house was like the move in the 90s.
right? So
Because it was cheaper.
That's crazy.
So then he did all these crazy renovations on it, right? He built this big ass garage because he had all these hobbies like snowmobiles. This garage was built big enough for his RV, and he was remodeling several cars in his garage.
He was just spending money to spend money.
Right. And twice in the past he had filed for bankruptcy.
Dummy ass.
Yeah. So-
Dummy ass.
Sus as fuck, right?
Yeah.
So many things started pointing at Bob being involved, right? Like, a fire intentionally started for insurance money. Okay? Like, that happens. A neighbor told investigators that about 2 weeks before the fire, Bob gave him a briefcase of life insurance policy paperwork and pictures and social security information on Christopher to have him hold at his house.
What the Ew! I would have been like,
Why would you give that to your neighbor?
that's so weird.
For backup.
For what?
Hang on.
So this was planned. Okay, I'm sorry.
For backup, you know?
But also, if it was 2 weeks prior and the fire happened 10 days after he got fired, he had still premeditated this before
like
he
4
had
days
been,
before
he had been fired. So this was his intention even before he had been found out.
Unless he knew he was gonna get fired because he was fucking around.
Yeah.
He probably still intended to
maybe
marry that
both.
girl. And
Just
do,
okay, just wait. Just
Okay,
wait.
okay,
Just
okay,
wait.
okay, okay,
Quit.
okay, okay.
Quit.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
No more
okay.
questions. No more.
Then listen to this crazy thing. Oh, so life insurance policies for Christopher added up to $80,000. Okay, remember the embezzlement was for $100,000. So even if he was using the insurance money for the embezzlement stuff, it wasn't even enough. Okay, anyway, so a clerk at a photo shop said that a couple days after after the fire, Bill came in with a roll of film. Clerk at a photo printing place told the investigators that a couple days after the fire, Bob came in with a roll of film with the pictures of the interior of the home before and after the fire. And it was identical photos. So let's say that there was a picture of the kitchen from this angle, a picture of the living room from this angle, and a picture of the bedroom from this angle. It was like that pre-fire, and then the next pictures were the exact same
literally
thing,
before
same
and after.
order, post-fire. Same roll of film. Same roll of film. How creepy.
I'm
Bob
not
also,
a fan. Like,
the exact day after the fire, Bob took his truck and completely washed it out.
my chest hurts.
And
right?
they found that there was a missing trash can from the Woods garage, from his large ass garage. Okay, so a lot of sus stuff, right?
Ugh, my fucking spine hurts.
Okay,
Right?
so during the examination of his very large garage, they found throw-up drops on one of his really nice cars. And so they swabbed it. Okay. They also found similar stains in the bed of the truck that he typically drove, the truck that he drove that day. The thing about vomit is there's not, even though it's like comes out of your body, there's no DNA in it because of how acidic your stomach is. Basically, it burns that, the acid is so intense that it burns that protein, so you can't get a DNA profile from it. But you can still kind of try to figure out what's in it, right? What makes this up. So, these badass investigators searched for and found a type of scientist called a forensic microscopy detective. The specific one they found, his name was Bill Schnettschek. Cool ass dude. Did tests on these throw-up samples and found basically, what is it called? They called it vegetative fragments. Okay, so vegetative fragments like oat bran, flour, and corn. And this scientist was like, these are common ingredients in breakfast cereal, right? So, Marshmallow Maybes, the cereal like Lucky Charms, were found in the Woods pantry. And his big sister Teresa tells the investigators that she remembers him eating a bowl of Marshmallow Maybes when she leaves for school that morning. And he does the test on it and it matches. Come to find out, there was some throw up also on the shirt that Chris was found wearing when his body was found. And it was also made up of the same stuff.
And it's like, gotcha, motherfucker, you're fucked.
Yep.
You're fucked now.
You are fucked in the ass. There's no way to get away with the perfect murder.
So
Something's always gonna go wrong.
they went around to the local car washes and found at a car wash fairly close to the Woods house an abandoned and empty trash can that matched the description of the missing trash can from the Woods house. Paint particles from the garage that also matched the matching trash can in the garage, proving that it was the missing trash can. And materials from Christopher's backpack in the trash can, proving that Christopher not only was in the trash can, but that was the trash can missing from the garage. Cell phone records also show that when Bob got the call that his house was on fire, he pinged a cell phone tower right by where Christopher's body was found.
Dummy.
Another cool science thing that happened for this case was ATF, or the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Association, bought 3 couches that were identical to the couch in the Woods house and tested to see how long it took that couch to make the energy to burn that whole house. So they did 3 experiments on it. And doing that, they proved that if Bob said he left at 8:30 and it was called the 911 call was made at 8:30, he had to be in the house to set the fire.
Where is this motherfucker right now? Is he just chilling somewhere?
So,
Hold on.
oh my god.
Bob was
It's not
arrested
even
but
over
maintained
yet,
his
my
innocence. The prosecution's timeline is this. Teresa left for school at 8 a.m. Bob kills Christopher while he's eating breakfast, and he threw up on himself while he was being strangled. Bob finishes dressing Christopher, putting his shoes on the wrong feet, carried him to the garage where he dripped the throw up onto the car, then placed him in the trash can, and then put the trash can into the bed of his truck. Bob went back inside, set the couch on fire, and grabbed Christopher's backpack and left. Bob drives the 50 miles down the road and tosses Christopher's backpack into the embankment. Bob gets the call about the fire and drives back, tosses his backpack about 5 miles before he's back at the house. This part is what fucks me up because it's like the backpack was the afterthought.
But it did make it look like
You're sweating.
It did make it look like Christopher could have dropped his backpack running away, so it worked out for him in that aspect. He was able to play off on the fact that Christopher had been playing with fire.
Mm-hmm. Next day, he washes his truck, abandoning the trash can and leaving behind literally so much evidence. Like, fucking idiot. Prosecutors are positive they would have won the case, but Bob committed suicide a week before his trial was set to start.
See, these are the only times I'll say that suicide is cowardly.
Coward.
Because like,
Coward.
if you're like clinically depressed and like you kill yourself because you really think there's no point, or like that's totally different than I'm going to get arrested,
Exactly.
so I'm gonna kill myself so I can't.
Yeah, no.
Fuck you.
That is the only way that it is cowardly to kill yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you have no right to say what type of mental state someone is in before they have to get to that point.
He killed himself in jail before his trial was started.
Didn't he hang himself?
He hung himself, yeah.
Hey.
A few days later, a psychic called and told the investigators that she talked to Bob before he killed himself, and he told her that the only people that knew exactly what happened are Christopher, him, and God.
We love a psychic.
Ew. That's disgusting.
Shelley Kellogg, his girlfriend, found out she had a bunch of missing documents from her house. Insurance paperwork, social security cards, and social security information. The investigators think that if she had accepted his proposal, that she would have been his victim after they got married.
Yeah, probably.
Like he already had her stuff to take out her life insurance policy set up.
Mm-hmm.
But she said no, so he went with Christopher.
And that's the story of Christopher Wood.
That sucks.
At the end of the Forensic Files episodes, they said science solved this case, and, like, it really did. Like, fuck.
Thanks, science.
So, let us know what you think of this type of video down in the comments.
Yeah, if you want to hear about any other stuff.
Yeah, let us know what else you want to talk about. I like doing true crime stuff, but it's a lot of work. That took me a whole day to do that story. It was fun, but it just does.
I liked it though. Like, I like hearing it. That was awesome.
Yeah, I want to do one. I want to do one for y'all.
Thank you. I worked really hard on it. All right, guys.
Don't forget to comment. Yeah, to comment down below.
Click that subscribe button to join our circle.
Yeah, who doesn't want to join the circle? And it's free. Like, and the best part about the circle is you don't ever have to pass it to anybody.
Nope.
Unless you have your friends with you too to watch this with us. But yeah, all of our stuff will be linked down below. So maybe a couple articles about Christopher will be linked down below, because why not? Why not look more stuff into it?
The Forensic Files episode, all that good stuff.
I'm just probably going to pop all of our stuff up on the page in a little generic cool font or whatever, because yeah. Alright, bye guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay. We don't have a lighter.
I'll grab one.
Yeah, we're gonna be trying
Find one?
Yes.
Oh.
It's the only one I found.
Shelly didn't know this was a crack lighter. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know. Everybody told me it's a fucking crack lighter. I thought of all people you would know.
Fine. And
You can control the height of the flame, so you can
yeah.
move the spoon.